Today on 7th Circle Gaming, we're going to be analyzing the early access 18th century sailing game, Sail the Seas. Now we'll get to the video proper in just a moment after a bit of full disclosure. If you'd like to read all of this, just pause the video and read at your leisure. But if reading isn't exactly your thing, just let the video run and the footage will start in a moment. We're going to start off today's video by taking a brief look at the overworld map for Sail the Seas. As we can clearly see from the screenshot, the game is set in the real-world planet Earth, although it's possible that the distances have been somewhat compressed. Now that we've seen what the overworld map looks like, let's now move on and look at the in-game world, and then we'll also talk about the user interface. From what we can see here, the game's art style is fairly realistic, and with a little bit of background knowledge we can figure out that we're looking at an 18th century setting. Now that we've firmly established our 18th century setting, we're going to move on and talk about the user interface, starting at the top of the screen where we have our status bar. Going from left to right, we have our currently available funds, health, thirst, hunger, tiredness, and a time of day, followed by, finally, at the far right of the screen, a wind strength indicator. The two pop-up windows that we saw earlier on the left and right hand sides of the screen are for giving commands to the crew, if any. The objective of all of this crew resource management and navigation is to travel from port to port, completing contracts, trading resources, all with the ultimate goal of acquiring larger and larger ships. For immersion, the game has earned a score of 8 out of 15, which is above average. Based on all of our evaluation sessions, the game seems to rely primarily on presentation, player agency, and challenge to create immersion. Although, with certain pre-launch settings adjusted, we do believe that challenge becomes a more substantial source of creating immersion. For difficulty, the game has earned a score of 2 out of 15. That score primarily coming from the fact that it utilizes fairly standard key bindings and the user interface is fairly simple. The game lacks any traditional difficulty settings, and there is a possibility that there are some hidden variables that make the game more challenging. But most importantly, there are two pre-launch options that are definitely going to affect the level of challenge. These turn off the simple navigation system where the game automatically provides a position fix for the player, and it also deactivates the third-person view. For lasting appeal, the game has earned one single solitary point, and that coming from the fact that the game does allow players to retry the game and see if the outcome is any different. And now it's finally time for the overall score, where the game has earned a 3.67 out of 15. That's about all the objectivity we can manage for this particular video, so please get out your salt and let's get subjective. One thing that we particularly liked about the game is the ability to add custom flags, although it is worth pointing out that doing this and managing save files requires the player to have some knowledge of the Windows file tree and file options. In-game world feels really empty. There are some major cities that are missing from the in-game map, and frankly, there are far too few ships plying the seas along with the player. If we're making a wish list for additional features that we'd like to see a more traditional difficulty settings menu and some additional customization options for the player character. From all of our evaluation sessions, the game really seems to be built around an incredibly sophisticated navigational simulator. It provides players with a complete suite of traditional nautical navigation tools, including chronometers, sextants, compasses, as well as a book of charts and tables. Speaking of that book of charts and tables, the screenshot that's on your screen now shows what that looks like in-game. There's no worries about doing all of the calculations yourself. The game will do those, but the player must manually enter the values. Needless to say, learning to use this and the other navigational tools can be something of a challenge. One final screenshot to share with you to end the video. We said earlier that the game allows players to add custom flags, and in this screenshot that you're seeing on the screen now, you're seeing a small sample of the 23 different, all period correct, flags we've added. While the game might have earned that very low score now, we do believe that that's going to go up as the game progresses toward its version 1.0. Although we don't expect it to really ever climb to a 15 out of 15, it's always going to be something of a niche game. But for players that are interested in this particular time period, and in sailing in general, this is certainly one to look for. And that's all for us from 7th Circle Gaming, and now the floor is open. Have you picked up Sail the Seas? Are you maybe interested in the game and there are some questions that you still have that you'd like to have answered in a follow-up video? Let us know in the comments section below. Or likewise, if there is a game that you would very much like to see analyzed on the channel, likewise, let us know in the comments section below. If you do have the game, or you do eventually purchase it, one thing that we'd like you to try, just as a little experiment, we've noticed in all of our evaluation sessions that when we have one particular flag up the flagpole, our ship seems to be a little bit luckier than when we have any other, and that flag is the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Try that out yourself, see if your ship is lucky, or if it's just a pure coincidence. Either way, until the next video from 7th Circle Gaming, goodbye.